Hello and welcome. In the previous episode of our tutorial series, we talked about an introduction and overview into the Adobe Photoshop application. We talked about how Adobe can be used, or the Photoshop can be used for the creation and manipulation of images and graphics, especially raster graphics. And also, we talked about the limited use or limited ability the application has when working on vector graphics. We also talked about a little bit about raster graphics and vector graphics. And then we talked about installing the Photoshop application and then opening the Photoshop application. Now, in this episode, we are going to be talking about the interface of the Photoshop application. Let's get started. First, one thing you need to know about the Adobe application is that it has been around for a very long time, and there have been a lot of versions relating to the application, from the CS versions to the CC versions. But one thing that is really certain about this application is that the interface remains almost unchanged. Now, for almost every Adobe Photoshop application you use, despite the version, you will probably see or notice that the interface, the look of the application, will look almost the same. That's why I said it doesn't matter the version you're using while working with this tutorial. We will probably get to use, and you probably get to understand easily what I'm talking about. Now, for those that are new to the Adobe Photoshop application, I am going to be showing you around. Now, the first thing I want us to work on once we have opened up our Adobe Photoshop application is to go down to the Windows menu. You see the Windows menu at the top here, click on it. Then move down to Workspace. Now, when you go to Workspace, look for Essentials. You can see Essentials here for me. It has default right on the side of it in brackets. Now click on Essentials. Then go back to Windows, move down to Workspace, and then scroll down to Reset Essentials. Now what this does is that it resets our Windows workspace to a default view. So even those that are probably not opening Photoshop for the first time, their application will definitely look like something like this, which means that they will find it easy to follow us in this tutorial. So with these settings, we all have the same status setup. Now we will talk about customizing the layout later on in the series. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is the color. Now you can see that our color has kind of a gray color. Our Photoshop application has a gray color. Now if you're using older versions of like CS6 and CC versions, they all have this particular gray color. But if you're using the CS 5.5 or CS5 and later versions, you will notice that it actually has a white color, but you can actually customize that. Now if you want to change your color, all you need to do is find the preferences option, and we're going to do that right now. I'll click on Edit, down to Preferences, then Interface. Once I click on it, it will show me the color theme under the Appearance options. Now you can see that we have 4 different color themes. We have the very dark theme, we have the gray theme, we have a lighter theme, and then we have a very light color theme. Now it depends on whichever theme you want to use, but for this tutorial I'll be using the gray theme, which comes default with my CX6. Now I'm going to click on OK. Now remember, you can use any color you want, it's all up to you, but for my tutorial I'm going to be using this particular color. Now OK, there we go. Now next we are going to be talking about other various functionality of the application, but first let me open up a project file that will help me explain better. Photoshop. Okay. Okay, I'm looking for Photoshop files, PSD and PUD. Okay, and open. Now I basically just opened a Photoshop file just to explain the interface of the application. You can open up any file, any image on your computer. This will help us to just better understand the interface. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, the first thing you will notice on Adobe Photoshop, at the top of your application, you have the menu bar. Now, the menu bar contains a list of menu options, which are very essential when working with Adobe Photoshop in creating graphics. Now, we have menus or options like the file option. We have options like the edit options. We have image option. We have layouts option. We have type option, select option, filter option, 3D option, view option, window option, and the help option. Now remember that you can actually access any of these options by clicking on them, and each of these options have various functionalities. Like the file option, for example, you can use on opening a new document or opening a previous document. You can open as, you can save, you can close your application, you can import and export using just this file menu. Same with other menu options. They all have various degree of functionalities. So if you want to use them, all you have to do is click on the option you want to click on and go ahead and click on the functionality you're looking for, and there you have it. You have access to the option. We are going to be talking about all these options later on in the tutorial series. Now on the left hand side of your screen, we have what we call the tools panel. Now the tools panel is just made up of various tools that we are going to be working with in our Adobe Photoshop application. Now no matter what you are creating, you can never work unless you use these two options. They are very essential in creating and manipulating graphics. Now one thing you notice when you look on the left hand side of the screen is that there is a particular icon that is representing each and every one of those tools. Now this first icon here is the move tool, and you can see that it is represented by a mouse icon plus an arrow, something like an arrow or a cross. Okay, so one thing you also need to notice is that once you click on any one of these tools option, you will notice that the particular tool has been grayed out. What this means is that that tool is currently very much active. So that means that at that particular moment, that is the current tool that you're working with. Something else that you will notice is that once you click on the tool option and you carry your mouse cursor into your workspace, you will notice that the mouse cursor changes to the icon that is represented by the tools in which you selected. Now let's click on another tool. This is a selection tool. You can notice that the icon has changed. Same with the various icons that are available. So once you click on any of these icons and becomes active, it changes your mouse cursor icon to that particular tool you are working with, which tells you that there is a particular tool that is currently active, not only by seeing on this gray area, but looking at your mouse cursor. Now, you can, if you also look carefully, you will notice that in some of the icons, there's a small white arrow at the bottom right of the icons. You can see here, there are a couple of small white arrows, but it doesn't really appear in all the icons, just a selected few. Now, what this tells us is that some of these tools actually work in sets. Now, if you right click on any of those two that has the small arrow, you will see the other sets that are available for use in that particular tool. What this means is that tool, where that tool currently is, you can use various degrees of tools in that particular area. So if I right click on the selection tool, you can notice that I have rectangular tool, elliptical tool, single row tool, and single column tool. So this actually gives us access to more tools if we right click on any of the tools that has that small arrow on the bottom right of the screen, of the icon screen, sorry. Now if you move down to the bottom of the tool panel, we will notice a box on top of another box. Now the first box has the black color and the second box has the white color. Now these colors are called the foreground and background color. The box with the black color is the foreground color and the one with the white color is the background color. Now these colors are essential when working with our these tools are essential when working with our application, because they help us select the kind of color we want to use when working on our graphics. Now on the top of these boxes you will see an icon, and now this icon is used to switch the foreground color into the background color. For example, I'm going to change the background color into a red color. Now if I click on this icon here, you will notice that the background color is now the foreground color, which is white, and the foreground color is now the background color, which is the red. Now the next icon next to the switch icon is the default foreground and background color. If you click on this, the foreground and background color moves back to the original color, which is the black and white. So I'm going to click on it now. You can see that the foreground and background color are now gone back to the default color state, which is the black and white color state. We're going to be talking more about this later on in our series. Now if you click on this arrow at the top of our tools panel, you will notice that our tools panel has changed into a double column view. Now the tools are now being viewed in a double column view, but for this tutorial we are going to leave the tools in a single column view, as it works better for us. Okay, what we're going to talk about next is the control panel. Right underneath the menu bar, we have the control panel. Now this is the control panel. The control panel is very essential because we will be working very much with it once we are working with our tools. Now this control panel gives you the options that are available in a particular tool that you're working on. With this control panel, you can edit or further customize the tool that you want to work on or want to work with in Adobe Photoshop application. Now each tool have their various control panel options. Now if you click from one tool to another, you will notice a change in the control panel options, which means that each tool have various control panel options and you can edit them or customize them however you want. Now if you move to the right hand side of our windows, our application windows, we will notice a couple of panels. Now these panels are also very essential when working with our application, as they help us to adjust our graphics however we want it to be adjusted. Now you can notice that there are a couple of panels open, like the color panel, adjustment panel, and the layer panel. Some of these panels need to be clicked on so they can open. For example, the history panel. You can see that the history panel is currently locked in. So if you click on it, it opens up. But you click on it again, it goes back in. If you click on it, this is a property panel. Clicked on it, it opens up. If I click on it, it goes back in. Now, some panels are also noticed to be inside and other panels. Like for example, the swatches panel can be found next to the color panel, but it's not visible unless you click on it. So if I click on the swatches panel, you can see that it switches from the color panel to the swatches panel. Also, the styles panel. If I click on the styles panel, you can see the switch from adjustment to styles. You can also switch between layers, channels, and paths. Now, these panels can easily be customized, and we are going to talk about that in a later video. Now let's move on to this slim panel that's available at the bottom of our screen. Here we have where you can see 66.67%, where this is very useful for zooming in or out of our project. What this does is, if we want to use it, we can easily click on it, delete what is there, and enter in any zoom value you want to enter in percentage. When you click on your enter, you can see that my zoom has been fitted to 50% zoom. You can also see the size of our document on the right hand side of that panel. Now if you click on this, you can put any other property or any other information that you want. Now you can choose the current tool that's available. It will tell you the current tool you're clicking on. This is document sizes. You can use view document profile. You can view document dimensions. It's your choice. So this layer here just gives you information on the document you're currently working on. In this video, we talked about the interface of our Adobe Photoshop application. We talked about the menu bar, the tools panel, the workspace panels, and the document property panels. In the next video, we are going to be talking about customizing these panels to best suit your design proficiency, depending on how you want to work on your Adobe Photoshop. We'll talk about all that in our next video. Thank you.